economic prospects that comes with being associated with some level of profession, I feel that this is just an opportunity to also learn. I mean, largely, by and large, if you are being very honest with us, particularly when you come from the law school, you need a lot of tutelage and pupillage.
That's right.
Before you are able to
even find your
feet as a young person. So I see it more as a burden rather than a jubilation, if you ask me.
But congratulations, regardless.
Thank you.
You have made us proud.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Okay, so Kwesi, please sit here for me.
Very well.
Sit here for me. Kwesi is saying very well. This is a lawyer's language. Hey, my God. PhD Baku and Esquire Baku. Yeah, we're about to get into the conversation. Kwesi, where's the president in all of this Galamsey conversation?
Well, it's a very leading question, particularly how you put it, and it shows how seasoned you are as a journalist. Particularly, I know the end, where it tries to put the president.
Why are you doing an analysis of my question before answering my question?
No, it's fair, particularly when I happen to be at the end of the point where I have to be answering.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean it's fair because whichever way the back rests on leadership. People can argue complexity, how complex the problem has been, how and the enormity of the problem, the impact. We can all talk about those things. We can even make references to the historical antecedent when it comes to Galamsey.
Right.
Obviously, talk about enforcement and non-enforcement. But I agree, your question is very valid. That ultimately still rests on leadership. But you see, it will also, first of all, be insincere on my part to sit here and pretend that as a people we could have done more. And it will also be insincere on my part to pretend that ultimately leadership should have also done more. But if you had lived in a Galamsey community, I lived in Konongo myself.
Right.
I did all my basic school up to senior high school before I left to Tamale to do my first degree. If you understand how these things work, to some people, it's not really a way of livelihood, but they believe that is the point of their survival.
Right. So
it's a very creepy subject where you look at it from the social point of view, from the economic point of view, from the political point of view. I've sat on many platforms and I will not sit and pretend that I am not aware. Of course, even though I cannot support him with evidences, I will not sit here and pretend that I'm not aware that there can be politically exposed people who are all part of this whole Galamsey thing. That even makes the issue more complex in terms of even enforcement. But I've always also added that generally, even beyond the fact that in terms of whether or not a political party or government has a political will to fight it, we should also be looking at also even her general performance when it comes to enforcement of laws as a people. I feel that our general performance when it comes to enforcement of basic laws, i.e. sanitation laws, i.e. road safety regulation laws, has been quite unpopular. And maybe as a people we need to improve. And it's the same attitude, the same posture, the same culture that we've brought to the forefront of the Galamsey issue. You see, the only difficulty is that when it comes to the Galamsey conversation, there is a hegemony around it. It's just like when you are having any debate, you put it within the context of religion or human rights. Any person who is arguing against it will not be able to make a very solid argument because people's livelihood are on it. People feel that those ones are entrenched provisions and other issue. So yes, I agree that in terms of our general performance, we could have done more. But I am also mindful of the fact that the conversation should be had in a very proper context. Particularly if you look at now, a lot of people are angry. They are angry for governments in terms of, if for lack of better words, non-performance when it comes to the expectation that people wanted. But you see, when we also bring in a bit of, the sex organs are not there, there are no limbs and those things, we should, yes, it's an invitation for us to look at all those things. But we should also not, marry all the issues. Recently, there was argument about lead and some heavy metals being cyanide and coal being food. But you see, for me, it's a welcome conversation. And it's also an opening factor for us to see and even discuss broadly into conversations like how we dispose our for instance, our electronic waste. car batteries, how we dispose and those things. I am not in any way run away from the responsibility that Galamsey could also be the cause. But if you look at, for instance, substances like mercury, which is insoluble in water, it will be very difficult for anybody to convince me technically that mercury, or if there are any metallic substances in foods, maybe that could be occasioned by.
So where is the president?
You feel I'm running away from your question?
You have not answered my question. You have spoken for about 3 minutes.
No, I am only laying the foundation.
I get you, but where is the president?
No, at the end of the day, I agree. It still rests on leadership.
But where is he?
The president is still working.
Where?
And you see, the fight against Galamsey, in as much as I agree that the expectations of the people has not been met, and I agree that we could have also done better as a people, I believe that we have to also measure it. If it's about performance, we have to measure it within a very holistic and broader view. From, in terms of when airlines were passed, when regulations, licensing, Operation Galam stop. At some point, we had to stop the Galamsey for almost a year, the Pharaoh period, all those things. And even now that we are not seeing improvements, we have to look at it holistically and say that we have to take a more common front, a more nationalistic view where everybody will come on board. But I agree, if you ask me where is the president, I know the context of the question is what has the president done so far as this whole conversation is concerned.
We're looking for leadership and vision in this fight. And the president is not at the forefront.
No, I don't think it's a subject of whether the president is at the forefront or not. I think it's a very creepy and complex subject. Okay. Like I indicated, me coming from Konongo, where you are looking at it from political, social, economic point of view. It's not that simplistic that if you say where is the president, even though ultimately leadership rests on him and everything rests on him, where it's a fight that one person can succeed.
Hold your horses. Let's engage Honorable Yusuf Jaja, is the MP for Ayawaso North constituency. Good morning, MP, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, good morning, my brother. How are you?
I am greater than Accra. Yesterday, we were not so happy about the report we got from your constituency and parts of it, the NDC and the NPP in a clash. We saw the guns and all of that. What really happened?
Yeah, first of all, good morning to your cherished listeners. It's highly unfortunate what you just mentioned occurred yesterday in Ayawaso North constituency. Every election, I think 2-3 months to elections, we've all been embarking on Keep Fit Walk every Sunday. We've been doing it since 1992, and NPP have also been doing it. So as time goes on, we try to modify how we do our activities. So for this year, the divisional command of the police, the district command, both Nima and Kotobabi, called both of us to initiate and demarcate routes for us each Sunday. If you care to know, Ayawaso North constituency comprised of traditionally Mamobi, the whole of Mamobi, and Accra New Town. That's Ayawaso North constituency.
Right.
So we've both finally agreed that if this week we are in Mamobi, then MPP will go to Newtown to have their work. If we are in Newtown the following week, then MPP will be in Mamobi. It alternates that way. And I think yesterday was our 8th week since we started the work for this year. So and things have been moving on smoothly. So yesterday we were for Newtown, Accra Newtown, and MPP were for Mamobi. So we went to our Accra Newtown. On our way back from Accra Newtown, we heard that one of our boys was shot. So in order not to disorganize my work, and also for my boys not to say that they will also go and retaliate, I told those guys not to mention it to anybody. So we just kept it cool and walked down till we got to our destination. By the time we got to our destination, our people just got the wind of it. So I quickly took a mic and narrated how it happened. That it didn't happen during our walk, like in the procession with the crowd. Once we were in Newtown, Nima coming, the thing happened somewhere in Kaukudi, getting to Kaukudi, just to allay some fears and what have you. But even with that, our guys were furious. So what happened is this. We have these young guys who are NDC boys called Sankofa riders. They ride motorbikes and ride it through the principal street.
Right.
Originally, they are from Ayawaso East, my neighboring constituency. That's the Sankofa riders. They are from Ayawaso East. But because our constituency is like a twin constituency, very small in size, so anytime they are riding through the streets, they come to Ayawaso North and also ride through some of the streets in Ayawaso North.
Mm-hmm.
So whilst we were in Newtown, they were riding and they had to come through Mamobi. Along the line, they just bumped into the MPP from behind or from the back. As soon as they saw the MPP, they stopped. The thinking is that the MPP were heading towards a junction and then they would take a right to their final destination. So these motor riders decided to stop from the back where they saw them, waiting for the MPP to get to their junction and take right. Then they can now continue on with their riding and take left. This is what happened. The MPP people saw them. Some of them came back and asked them, why are they now? They are in Mamobi. Why are they coming to Mamobi? And they said, oh, they didn't know. They are riding through the principal street. And that is why as soon as they saw them, they stopped from that distance. They wanted them to finish and turn so that they can also continue. Before they could say Jack, warning shot. And finally, two of my guys had to got a shot on their necks too. I'm coming. At the minute as I'm speaking with you, they are at the, what's it called, police hospital with a bullet in their leg, several others wounded.
Right.
So if you ask me, this is exactly what happened. It wasn't like the whole crowd of the NDC and the whole crowd of the MP clashed. No, this was just the riders who found themselves there. But when they saw them, they stopped waiting for them to finish so that they can also continue. And the guys just came on them, and this is what happened.
What do you say to those who suggest that this could be a dress rehearsal for the big day of election 2024?
So, my brother, exactly so. My issue has to do with this. Just a minute. I beg, listen to me. Let's even assume, or granted that when the guys came with their motors, they even forced their way into the MPP crowd. Let's grant it that. Let's assume. It never happened. There was a distance. If you assume that when they saw the MPP, they were trying to even try or ride through the crowd. Let's even assume that, my brother, must it lead to a gunshot? Let's even assume that must it lead to a gunshot. Secondly, a peace walk, health walk. Why will some of you be holding weapons, guns? These are the two basic things. You can say, per your judgment, this generation, I won't lie. You can say that the motor riders didn't do well for even coming to where the MPP were having theirs. Let's grant it. Yes, fair. Fair. But even if they had done that, must it lead to a gunshot?
But where did they get the guns from? Do we know?
Secondly, a health walk. It's a health walk. Please keep fit.
Right.
Must some of you be holding guns on you? And my point is, this is just a health walk. This is not 7th December. This is a health walk, not 7th December.
Honorable, where did they get the guns from? I am worried.
My brother, if you ask me this question, how will I be able to know? And there are footages, there are pictures of those holding the guns. And you know the interesting part of it? Some of the guys in that action, holding guns, are not even coming from the constituency. They are known. They are in the video. Some of them are not constituents of Ayawaso North. And to ask yourself, who brought them into Ayawaso North and, for that matter, into MPP health work? You get me? Who brought them into that work, into MPP health work, holding weapons? There are pictures. If you want, I can send them to you. There are videos, pictures. They are not from this constituency.
Do we know if the police has made any arrests yet?
In fact, yes. Yesterday, the Director General Operations, COP Suraj, came together with the Deputy Regional Commander and the District and the Divisional Commanders came. So we had a meeting. We told them, to be frank with you, we are also not cowards. NDC in Ayawaso North, we are not cowards, but we are peace-loving people. We want peace. We are going for an election. Victory is our target, not fight. So yesterday we restrained our people. But we told the police, with all this evidence, if nothing is done, if tomorrow NDC should also do something similar, will you be able to do something? You get me? That's all what we asked the police. In the midst of all this evidence, if nothing is done, so will something tomorrow happen on the part of NDC? What will you do as a police?
How are you going to prevent these reprisal attacks, if any at all, as leader of the pack, as member of parliament?
For now, that's what I said. If we had not restrained our people yesterday, there has been a retaliation. In terms of numbers, they know. If you care to know, their footages. Look at our crowd when we are embarking on our walk. Look at their crowd. It's not much. You get me? But yesterday we were able to control our people. We are giving the benefit of the doubt to the police. We are looking up to them. This action needs an urgent action. It needs an urgent action. This situation needs an urgent action just to deter, just to prevent such occurrence come 7th December. Now, if nothing happens, then it means on the 7th December, if they do, what can you do to them? You get me? In the unlikely event, the other party also does a similar thing. What can you do to them? So I would rather call on you to call on the police with all the evidences available. Action must be taken. In that regard, even if the other party knows that if I do this, the police will not leave me, then at least it will deter them. But if nothing is done, then it means you can do this for free and nothing will happen.
I see.
So that is all what I have to say. So I'm please calling on you to call on the police to take action, just to serve as a deterrent to all of us, not just the NPP alone. The deterrent will be served to all of us, not just NPP alone.
I hear you. Honorable Yusuf
Jaja.
Jaja, thank you very much indeed. MP for Ayawaso North, we're grateful that you spent your morning here with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Great. And it's some 5 minutes after 9 on your radio. I still have Kwesi Kwating Esquire, is a spokesperson for the Ministry of Education, Dr. Ramsey Inusa. Doc, so this is now some more flesh and information that the MP has provided for us.
Yeah.
How does that sound to you? All of this that's happening is asking for us to call on the police to act swiftly. But is that it?
I don't think that is it. Johnny, since the inception of our Fourth Republic, the Ghanaian society has been highly polarized. And this is as a result of the duopoly of the NPP and the NDC. And this has been propagated by what I call political clientelism, right? Where people go to the extreme, right? To achieve the goals of their political parties or their political masters for certain favors, right? And so, the police is being called to see how best they can investigate and apprehend these bandits. But let me tell you, this is a politically motivated case. There's no way the police will be able to apprehend these people.
Why?
We've seen it.
Why do you say that?
Oh, we've seen that all the time, right? Techima South is a clear example, right? That one even was with the security service. They killed 8 innocent people. Was anybody apprehended? We saw the gunshots and violence at Ododiodio. Was anyone apprehended? So of course, we live in a country where today the level of patriotism in this country has gone. It's gone out. It's not like the days of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Today people would die for their political parties rather than to die for Ghana. And that is why we need to change the status quo. We need to educate our youthful people, right? From our homes, from our churches, our mosques, right? From our schools, and let them understand that we have to owe fealty to the nation, Ghana, and hold our constitution in high esteem, rather than the ideals the principles and the philosophies of our political parties. Yes, you can belong to a political party, but Ghana has to be apical than your political party.
Well, people don't understand that concept. People think that it has to be my party that has to form the leadership of the nation for us to be able to get the goodies delivered.
Exactly. That's why I said clientelism.
Yeah. That's right. Now, if you are asking people to come to the center and leave their political parties, then really, what are you asking them to do?
Johnny, you can still belong to a political party and still be patriotic, right?
Agreed.
Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was a member of the CPP, but he was touted as the African of the millennium,
right,
and a patriotic citizen of this country and a Pan-Africanist.
Right.
So, of course, you can have those differences, but the current form of our political landscape is something that is worrying to our democracy. And if you look at the Afrobarometer report, the desire for democracy in this country is the lowest in our country's history under this regime. So it tells you something, that this is a regime that promotes recalcitrancy. This is a regime that promotes the ideology of being against the rule of law, right? That is why today 53 innocent citizens who went out to demonstrate as their right, as espoused in Article 21 of the 1992 Constitution, the right to assembly and to proceed on any demonstration, or right, were apprehended by the police, unlawfully arrested, right, without telling them the reason why they were arrested.
They're reading their rights to them.
They were taken to the police station without the opportunity for a legal counsel or to talk to their lawyers. I was in court. I was there. Right. They had to seek for a conference with their clients before even the lawyers were told why they were arrested. Can you imagine?
So they were arraigned before court, before their lawyers got to know what charges were being pressed against them.
The prosecutors did not even give them the charge sheet. Their lawyers the charge sheet. It was in court that they were given the charge sheet. And
really?
Yes, I was there.
The democracy have people.
I was there.
Who went out to demonstrate.
Yes.
And to call the attention of government against Galamsey.
Absolutely. So it tells
their
you
lawyers did not have the charge sheet.
They didn't have the charge sheet.
So what were they going to be speaking to in court?
Well, they were served. The judge was even angry with the way and manner the prosecutors handled the whole prosecution. But I'm grateful that the youth of Ghana rose and they have been granted bail, right? And to me, this case is just a politically motivated case. It has no basis in our society and it's frivolous, as the lawyers would say.
Well, Council, NDC MPP at it again. Nima Mamobi, clash, gunshots. People get wounded. 2 are still on admission. And then what?
Yeah, I watched it this morning, and I'm first of all, I mean, it's something that any rational person should condemn it. And we are also unable to pretend that it was, I mean, done within a political environment. So somehow, a bit of the political twist. We also have to be lazy on the conversation. I also agree with that. But with having condemned it, I will first of all, even before I call for the even arrest and prosecution of. I understand there has been arrest with the interview that you just did. But I earlier read the police statement that they said they have identified the person, which I thought that it was even slow. They should have been more hasty than that.
It was in the video. If you pause the video, you see the gentleman.
Yeah, because it was clear. I mean, all of us have identified it. So I have identified the person. So you, the police, with all the needed resources and the intelligence and the training, you should just go beyond identification.
Right, and actually move.
And actually move beyond that end. But of course, I also not pretend to be the spokesperson for the police and tend to understand how they operate more than myself.
Right.
Maybe if we come to the Ministry of Education, I should be able to respond to say, but of course we call on the police to be able to do arrest and also prosecute them. But you see, beyond that, and the bit of the criminality and what have you, you see, I also admonish even all these guys, particularly with party supporters. I agree with Doc when he emphasized the point about how polarized our country has become. To the extent that particularly if you look at the winner takes all syndrome,
Right.
and the fact that people's livelihood they feel are strongly bent on or anchored on a certain political connections.
Clientelism.
Yeah, clientelism. It becomes very difficult for you to, address some of these things. And at every point, we may be seeing, some of these things. Because, see, beyond anything, if you look at the relationship that we have, even politically exposed persons,
Right.
particularly those of us even with higher interest, I'm sure interest, there are levels or grades of interest. I'm not sure if you go and shoot maybe on behalf of any politically exposed person, you have a higher interest more than him. Because a lot of them are selling their houses, a lot of them are taking loans, a lot of them are doing all kind of moves to be able to sustain the political campaigns.
Yeah.
That's a different leg of the conversation that we have maybe when we delve into political funding and what have you.
Right.
But you see, these are people who have higher interests. So sometimes you even get to question, whether it's a blind loyalty or is a foolish loyalty that maybe some of these guys play. Because for you to go to the extent of even shooting a fellow human being, where lies a sense of humanity that we all have as a people? But like you said, the kind of policies that we play, people feel that is a do and die affair. Interestingly, even those at the top do not even see it that way. That's why it's even important for everybody to build themselves. Just some few years ago, when Sami Jemfi was contesting for his communication officer's election,
right.
apparently his younger brother, Daniel, he's a pastor now.
Right.
He's in America. He's also a medical doctor.
Right.
He was my roommate in the university.
Okay.
Sami was a known NDC guy. I was a known MPP guy. But it was my car that we were using to do his operations for him.
I see.
We go to his house, pick. Those ones I'm not going to label them in public. But election is full of a lot of operations. It was my car that we were using to do some of the operations.
I see.
I'll pick his brother. We'll go to his room. He was not even aware of. It's recently that we met.
And you
I told him that I was the one who's guy. He said,
who was carrying your things?
who was carrying your things for you? You get the point.
Right.
So Malek Basentale,
Right.
he is doing extremely well. At the student front level, I contested him. We contested for USAC president.
Right.
It's what happens that he was unsuccessful with the attempt and
Right.
I happened to go through.
Right.
He's doing well. I'm also doing well.
Right.
At that level, when we see ourselves, there is respect, there is cordiality, there is, dignity in our conversations. But you see, these are our friends, our supporters who feel that they even have to overshadow what the politically exposed people are
Do they
doing.
pick the indication from you? Sometimes, while you're on set,
No, they don't.
and then the arguments get heated, they assume that you are at each other's throat, and so they must follow suit.
Yeah, they don't. Because see, today, I was on the show with lawyer Joji.
Right.
Before we went on live, we're discussing the issues in a very honest perspective.
Right.
Where I made certain admissions so far as the Galamsey conversation was going on.
Right.
He also made certain admissions and even told me the strategy he was going to use on air, how he was going to hit at me and treat me all manner of jabs. Then I said, I'm not going to reveal mine to you. We had that friendly conversation.
Right.
He advised me on the law practice and everything.
Right.
Well, he's a senior. But these things are behind the scenes that these guys do not see. So they just feel that it's a do and die affair, and sometimes they tend to be emboldened with this whole political coloration. And I also agree the failure on politically exposed persons to be able to punish some of these things, and even state institutions. Because if you are not very careful, any criminality can be justified so far as it's put under the umbrella of political coloration.
I agree.
Oh, he's an MPP guy. He's an NDC guy. The truth is that as soon as you label such a person, even the police, they are even afraid to even go beyond them, go after them. This is a fact. Just label the person. Oh, he was working with this national chairman, this regional chairman. The police are afraid because we are aware that there are instances where transfer mechanism could be used as a punishment for the police, and nobody want to go through that.
Right.
There will be nobody to speak for you. We are aware that systematically, in terms of even the police recruitment and what have you, all political parties, it doesn't matter who is in power, is now anchored on political sponsorship to even get recruited in this political, these security services.
Right.
So we have a very broader problem. But of course, limiting myself with the context of what has happened is something that I condemn in utmost terms.
Okay.
It's something that, irrespective of who came with who, at no point should anybody pull a trigger on a fellow human being.
That's not not. Doc, you wanted to make an intervention. We'll go for a break. We'll come back and look at the NDC MPP issues.
Yeah,
John Mahama is asking us to do a comparative analysis of how well the MPP is taking care of us or not.
I mean, I think my brother has made some nexuses with my earlier submission. But I think it is important to bring it on notice that this current government that has been led by a human rights lawyer, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has failed to uphold to those principles that he himself fought for since the inception of his political career. And that is why the polarization of the Ghanaian society in today's political dispensation is the worst in our country's history. And I refer this statement to the Afrobarometer report for the desire of democracy by Ghanaians.
Right.
And you know, we tend to always say that it's the followers that do not understand how we have cordial relationships on the top. But some of these chaoses or these incidents are propagated and influenced by people from the top. Do you remember the also West Wogon by-election?
Right, the violence.
The violence there. It was instigated by people from the top, using even state security personnel, the national security, to brutalize innocent civilians, right? And so we should not sit here and pretend as if all what is happening is not influenced by leadership. It is influenced by leadership. That is why, if you listen to Honorable Alan Kodo Tremantin, he is saying and he's calling for a government of national unity to unite Ghanaians beyond our party facets or political dispensation and heal this nation so that Ghana can take back its rightful place.
Okay, we'll take a break here. When we return from the break, my guest will still be Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng. He's a freshly minted lawyer. He also speaks for the Ministry of Education. Dr. Ramsey Nusa is with the Movement for Change. See you shortly after this break.
And I have a little announcement for all Galamseyers. God will kill you. Bring the scripture. I'm quoting the scripture. God will kill you. And maybe kumunama kumako. God will kill you. All Galamseyers, God will kill you. The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed star 712 hash and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone. The luckiest.
Dial star 712 hash. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial star 712 hash. Now I can to take it through as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now when Nisika gets here, prizes are gets here in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Charlie, this year's elections, I am really confused. I don't know who to vote for.
Why don't you know who to vote for? Let's listen to one policy JDM says he's going to implement when he's voted.
I think so NDC ban. You may be in Juman kitten. My say a branch executive na di omo bejim. Say Kuko na person share poultry farm. Ketu ebi near Mao Akuko Bono near Ton Kuko na Mao near Mao Ediane a ode beto Ediane ama sika ode beto Ediane ama.
But why are you laughing? My guy, relax. So this is the reason he wants us to vote for him?
Oh, the man hasn't changed one bit. Same old dead goat. Now let's listen to one of the many policies Dr. Bawumia has for the youth.
Jobs will be my major focus. Now, me be training 1 million youth in digital skills.
And see, that's not all. Apart from that, he's going to set up SME Bank to enable SMEs expand, to create jobs for the youth, and also increase demand with the buy now, pay small policy, which is the credit scoring system.
Oh, really?
That's not all, oh. Let me give you the last one. He says he's going to introduce Buy Ghana First policy to boost local businesses to help them expand and employ more youth.
Wow. Now, I know who I'm voting for come December 7th. Dr. Bawumia, you have my vote.
Yes, so these are but a few of DMB's bold solutions for the youth when he's voted into power come December 7th.
I've changed my mind. I'm not voting for JDM anymore. I'll vote for the bold solutions man, Dr. Bawumia.
Great decision, my brother. This year, Dr. Bawumia's vote, Yem Fan Cheche.
And yeah,
Vote Dr. Bawumia, number 1 on the ballot.
1, 2, 3.
Dive into a world of exhilarating fun, refreshing thrills, and endless splashes at the Marina Water Park inside Lakeside. With a wide array of water attractions, you are guaranteed an unforgettable experience for the whole family. Open Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Call 0508 598 948 or 0204 775 044. Follow us on all socials at Lakeside Marina Park. Marina Water Park. Love the experience.
Is 3FM 92.7, your election command center. This is 3FM 92.7, your election command center.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported. All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
And I have a little announcement for all Galamseyers. God will kill you. Bring the scripture. I'm quoting the scripture. God will kill you.
3FM Sunrise.
9:25 is the time. Let's get straight back to business. Kwesi Kwating, Esquire, spokesperson for the Ministry of Education, Dr. Ramsey Nusa of the Movement for Change. And with you on the other side, we'll activate the phone lines later in the show so you can also join the conversation from your office, from your home, or wherever you may be. But see, the NDC's flag bearer, John Mahama, is asking Ghanaians to do a comparative analysis of how well you have taken care of Ghanaians or otherwise, and how well he took care of Ghanaians as president. What do you say, comparatively?
Yeah, I agree with him.
That we should do the analysis.
Yeah, except to say that, because you see, this year's election is not really going to be anchored on, of course, I mean, even generally, if you look at the media landscape, aside the fact that Galamsey has taken a dominance position in terms of the discussions and maybe its impact on the elections. Right. The election, people are really not concerned about what you promise. Particularly me, I don't even go to on TV or radio stations with, I mean, maybe manifestos of manifesto promises. I'm sure Ghanaians are even tired of that.
Right.
And it's also largely occasioned by the fact that you are having particularly the two leading political parties, the NPP and the NDC. You are having their candidates, each of them having, I mean, been president before or very close to the presidency. So you have Mr. Mahama having the opportunity to be president before. Dr. Mahama Dares Ghanaians also having, I mean, got into the high level as a vice president before. So a lot of them Ghanaians are going to judge them based on their track record. And of course, even beyond the track record, a bit of credibility that the two holds. So, I mean, I will not even go far. Particularly if you look at, for instance, from even my own sector, before I even digress into other areas. Education, you look at the statistics there with regards to access, particularly enrollment 2015 before they left power was around 299,000. This time we are looking at around, just last year, around 504,000, where I am very hopeful that even this year is going to increase. So clearly, in terms of access, the records supports, I mean, the MPP, our position.
What about quality?
Oh, even the quality, I mean, by the time I finish with my presentation, I'm sure I'm going to give you the quality statistics as well. The quality statistics too, you see, even on the face value, without even necessarily making reference to the prepared slides, even on the face value, it is only the 2015, for the past 9 years, it's only the free senior high school graduates, which happens to be these administrators, I mean, the handiwork of this government, that has been able to have 50% in A1 to C6 in all core subjects. What essentially means that when you talk about, for instance, students getting access to tertiary education every year, with the MPP being in power, you are having at least more than 50% of Ghanaian students who would be WASI results getting access to the university or having university education. So that also speaks for itself in terms of quality. I think I have the data here. If quickly I should just go through, but of course I will move from a bit beyond education. I just wanted to start from my own
your sector.
Yeah, my own sector. For instance, if you look at enrollment, like I indicated, their time 2015 was 299,649. 2023 is 504,729. So the difference is very clear. Even in terms of something significant that we've not been able to trumpet as a people, for instance, gender parity. At the senior high school level, we've been able to achieve gender parity. So essentially, if you look at, if you go to any senior high school, currently where we are having the enrollment even for the first years being 504,729, essentially you divide it by 2, half are males, half are females. And we all know the socioeconomic implications that it has on us as a people when particularly the female gender is educated. Now, education is only anchored on, for instance, it's not only anchored on access alone. Because if you say you are giving an access and access is free, just like when I come here, you say you're giving me bottled water to drink. And at the end of the day, we realize that it's Galamsey water. It really doesn't make sense. We are rather giving me more infections and, I mean, even it has even economic implications. I have to get hospitalized and pay for my bills and other things. So quality is also very crucial. But you see, the data available supports that quality has rather increased. I get a drift that all over the world, when access increases, quality reduces.
Right, it drops. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that's the established template that we all knows. But with the introduction of the double track, coupled with the fact that we increase more teaching hours, also brought in extra teachers, reducing the teacher to student ratio in the classrooms, and also providing textbooks and other teaching and learning materials, including sample past questions for the students to be able to work. Because I mean, a lot of these WASI questions are questions that comes within from the same syllables. So the more you prepare and prep yourself, you are able to answer same. If you look at the outcome that we are having now with regards to the quality component, I just want to use only 4 subjects. In 2015, when the NDC was in power, English language was 45.2%, as just opposed to 2023, 73.11%. 2015, inter-science 28.7%, as compared to 66.82%, maths 32.4%, as to 62.23%. Very finally, social studies 57.4% and 76.76%.
I'm sure you've heard the professors who also suggest that, look, the quality that they're bringing into the universities is not the best, and sometimes they have to reteach their children some of the basic principles so that they can build upon that to teach them what they are required to learn at the universities. I'm sure you heard that.
I read the statement, and I mean, clearly you could see that he spoke out of the blues, out of the vacuum. He didn't speak.
The professor spoke out of the vacuum.
Yes, because there was no basis. You see, as a professor, I mean, he's a doctor. I'm sure he's a PhD holder, right?
That's
yes,
right.
He's a doctor, and every doctor or PhD holder is a researcher.
Right.
In the research, you put out data and facts to support your claim. But when you stand on political platform, and lay claims of quality being compromised, where you do not support same, particularly when the evidence available. There's not evidence generated by the Ministry of Education. It's coming from WAEC. Does not support that the claim that you've made. One can even be able to say that maybe you should have probably gone beyond the scope of what you know and read extensively to be able to appreciate the available data. But I don't fault him, because all over the world, including even professors, all of them knows that when enrollment increases, quality reduces.
When access increases.
Sorry, yes, enrollment or access, because
right,
ultimately
the same thing, right.
Quality reduces. So everybody speaks from that perspective. But we were able to defy gravity with the introduction of the double track. What essentially means is that if, for instance, you have a classroom that could have taken 150 people with the introduction of the free SHS, which means that there was a surge in access, you rather divide the 150 people for the classroom and make it 75 by 75. Recruit more teachers.
That means double track is not going to end now.
No, I am saying that within the context of what he said,
right.
That's what I laid the foundation.
But when is double track ending? We say
so within the context of double track, as when we had 2 double tracks within a 1 year stream is no longer there. Where, for instance, Form 1s, you had to divide them. Half go to school, I think green track, another half gold track. Form 2 is green gold. These people go for 1 month or 2 months, other people vacate. No, it's not there again. But there are situations in, I think 65% of schools are currently under single track. 35% of them are also under what you call transition. So transition, you may have schools where you have 2-year groups in school, but 1-year group has vacated.
Okay.
Unlike before, where all 3-year groups had the same academic calendar, they vacated at the same time. You can have Form 2s and Form 3s in school, whilst Form 1s are not there. You can have Form 2s and Form 1s in school, whilst Form...
Okay. Let me pick Ramsey's thoughts on education, but quickly, when are the BEC results out, Kwesi?
I think it should be out this week, because school placement, I need to confirm the figures, but I need to confirm even the date when it will be out. But I think they are supposed to go to school. Hopefully, we are looking at the ending of the month.
Okay.
End of the month. So I'm very sure school placement should be out. But I'll confirm the date.
Okay, I hear you. Ramsey, education. Let's look at it so then we can go to economy. Kwesi makes the argument that, well, access has increased and so has quality. What do you say?
Unfortunately, quality has never improved under this regime.
Do you have statistics?
If you look at the education indexes, in 2017, the education index was recorded at 0.56. In 2023, it's recorded at 0.54. So there is a decline, year-on-year decline.
Index from where?
Where's the source?
The source, I'll give you the source. I'll give you my mobile phone to check.
Amy, am I to do your research for you? You are a researcher.
No. I'm showing it to you so that...
So mention it.
World Population Review.
World Population Review.
Yeah, World Population. Okay. I want to give it to him. Sometimes, when you meet the NPP
Please,
people...
wait here so that we'll all go and find out.
Oh, check.
World Population
Population Review.
Okay, let me ask Google. Okay, but go ahead, make your point, please.
With education, Johnny, my view on Ghana's educational system is that the free SHS policy, in my own candid opinion, should have been a redistributive policy rather than a distributive policy. Looking at the volumes and the quantum of money that is going into this, right? And knowing very well that we're a country that is heavily burdened when it comes to debts today. We are not even servicing most of our debts because we can't pay, right? If you look at our debt to GDP ratio, it's recorded at 84% by the World Bank. So what I'm saying is that, yes, there are people in our society that can afford to pay for the school fees of their wards, right? We should have those data. Those that cannot pay, right? Then we can support them with the free SHS. But if you put all under one umbrella and overburden the public purse, of course, then there's an issue. Then secondly, the issue with infrastructure. There are a lot of issues with our infrastructure, educational infrastructure. There's a big deficit. That is why they are running a double track system, right? And the implementation of the policy from day one was poorly implemented. because it was a political promise, the MPP needed to heed to that promise and deliver whichever way they will deliver, compromising the quality of the education of our world.
What would you say to the parent who says that, look, my children would not have gone to school had it not been because of free SHS? What do you say to that?
Of course, that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that. You see, this policy is a distributive policy.
Right.
It's for everybody. Right. But we know in our society that we have various segments of the Ghanaian population that can afford and those that cannot afford. We have to have data of those that can afford, right, and then cater for them. Whilst those that can afford, right, they should pay. Government will save money to improve and expand the existing educational infrastructure, improve on the quality of the curriculum, the educational curriculum, right, and then the training of the teachers and their skills. This money could have been used to even support STEM education, right? And then vocational
but the government
training.
is doing STEM. The government is doing
TVET.
TVET,
yes.
Those are the two.
But it's not enough.
What else do you want government to do? What else do you want government to do?
Look, Johnny.
Yes.
It's not enough.
No, but so what else do you want them to do?
So first and foremost, you need to put in policy frameworks to ensure that when people come out of these educational policies, right, they are prepared for the work of life, right? You have readily available capital to support them in any venture that they want to endeavor in.
But that's a different conversation.
No. But
capital is not education.
It's but education is part of human capital, right?
That's not debatable.
Yes. And I'm saying
but then you want what soft skills to be added to the training, employable skills, and then you want ready cash there for them to.
I mean, you talk about 1D, 1F, right? Which is a policy to industrialize Ghana, right? How are we connecting our TVET education, our free SHS, to government's 1D, 1F policy? And government's entire goal to industrialize
you see a missing link.
There's a missing link. It's always like that, and that is one of the major causes of unemployment in this country.
I'll respond to you.
That is a major unemployment cause in this country. That the curriculum, even in our university, doesn't have a nexus with our industrial agenda. But that's why people go and study all kinds of things, and they graduate.
if your population is educated,
yes,
then they are better placed to make informed decisions that will inure to the overall interest of the country and particularly for them, right?
We agree to that.
So you move from step 1 before you go to step 2. You can't do everything at the same time, can you?
No. But you see, if you take the inspiration from China, right? You look at China in 1979 under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping. They had an economic policy, an industrial, which was coupled by an industrial agenda, and then supported by the educational system.
But China is a socialist country.
No, it doesn't matter.
It matters.
Malaysia in 1971, under the leadership of Mohammed Mahathir, right? He introduced a new educational, new economic policy, NEP, right? And then there was some form of diversification in the Malaysian economy, and it was supported by the educational syllabus and curriculum and system. Ghana could have done same. Under this 8 years, we could have achieved extravagant heights with our educational system and also with our
so bottom line
agenda.
is you're saying is that people are going to school, but they are going to school and there's nothing that is coming out of it that will help us as a country. Is that what you're saying?
For the market,
right? So we are not preparing people enough for the job market,
for the job market locally,
yes, everything else.
And of course, if you look at, he's here and he's a rep for the ministry.
But if I do TVET, for example, and they teach me how to sew, or they teach me carpentry, or they teach me masonry or auto mechanic, I'm ready for the market.
That is another aspect.
If I go and I'm part of the STEM school and they teach me how to code and do softwares and build them, I'm ready for the market.
That is agreeable.
So what are you saying then?
But then the collective goal to reorient this economy from an import-driven one to an export-driven one hasn't been backed by our educational system. That is why since the inception of our Fourth Republic, from 1992 till date. And I can give you some statistics, Johnny, that today we hear Malaysia. We always talk about Malaysia, learning how to plant oil palm trees from Ghana, right? In 1957, Malaysia and Ghana both attained self-governance and independence. Our GDP per capita, right? Ghana's GDP per capita was $323, and that of Malaysia was that of Malaysia was $323, and that of Ghana was $356. What it means is that the GDP per capita is also another indicator for economic growth. Ghana in 1957 was better than Malaysia in terms of GDP per capita. Fast forward, in 1992, the GDP per capita of Malaysia was $3,193, right? That of Ghana was $395. In 2023, the GDP per capita of Ghana was $2,203. So Malaysia in 1992 was better than Ghana's today as we're speaking. And this is as a result of a failure, number one, of leadership, misplaced priorities with policies, right? And a failed educational system and curriculum that would be able to help us diversify our economic portfolios.
But is that not the same educational system that made you a doctor?
No, but Johnny.
Yes, sir.
What is the orientation of this economy? I'm talking about.
No, I'm asking you. No. A failed system has turned you into a PhD holder.
No, but it doesn't matter. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
No, Johnny.
Yes, sir.
Individual capacity is different from collective capacity.
But were you alone in your PhD class?
No, but Johnny, that's what I'm saying, that I didn't even study in Ghana.
The whole time?
I studied part of my education.
Your foundation was in Ghana?
My foundation was in Ghana, but I don't even want to mention the school. It was not.
And the foundation was not good enough, but you were able to get a PhD outside.
We're talking about the collective aspect, right? Okay. Johnny, if our educational system was strong enough, how is it that today we are still reliant on our primary commodities for exports and we are not adding more value to them?
Okay.
How did the likes of Malaysia, China, Singapore?
I think your point is made. Kwesi, you wanted a quick rebuttal and then we'll talk about the economy.
I'm not sure it's a rebuttal. You know my style. I've always maintained that deep within myself, I represent a political party, but I've never liked the approach of our political communication as Ghanaians, where when they are objective realities that even a reasonable man will not dispute, you run away from them. You see, in the first place, we cannot pretend that Ghanaians are not aware that as a people, I mean, we had a systemic challenge as a people in terms of all aspects of our economy, including education. If we continue to train your students or your citizens in 19th century building, I'm not sure you should expect any different outcome. If you continue to train your citizens and the children of Ghana, I mean, with 19th century curriculum, you should not expect any different outcome. And if you continue to train students anchored on memorization, there is no way you can escape poverty. So I agree that there is a nexus between education and socio-economic transformation. That's why if you look at the variables of education, that's not only limited to access and quality alone, but they also have a bit of relevance. Because when there is access, when there is quality, that is where you have an impact on the socio-economic transformation. So partly I agree with him. But I mean, it should not be made to look like, hey, within the past 8 years that the challenges within the education sector only came.
I didn't. That is not what I said.
No, you let me land.
No, but I want to correct. That's not what I said.
He didn't put it that way.
No, he didn't put it that way. But I said that's why I said it should not be made to look.
Okay.
I didn't say he said that. As for looking, a lot of things can look.
Lawyer.
Oh, please.
Lawyer, please. You want to corner the doctor?
No. So rightfully so. You see, we've had an education system that continuously disadvantaged us in terms of growth and even having an impact on the socio-economic transformation. Because education system was pivoted on reading, writing, and memorization.
Right.
And like the Minister for Education will tell you, you cannot memorize yourself out of poverty. Particularly when in the first industrial revolution, when steam engines came into being and they used to power industries, particularly in Africa, we were just at the consumption end. The second industrial revolution, which brought forth electricity to power production, we're also at just the consumption end. The third industrial revolution that brought the computers, the supercomputers that I'm sure by now if we're having, I wouldn't even recognize your face to see your face. I mean, we're still at the consumption end, but today we are in the fourth industrial revolution. We are talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about Internet of Things. We are talking about 3D imaging, robotics, and what have you. Yes, I agree that is where gradually we have to reposition our education system to. It is even the more reason why, even despite the fact that as a country, collectively, we fail to even talk about STEM and digitization in our previous elections. And even the NPP did not even capture science, technology, engineering, education in their manifesto. Because the NPP only promised free senior high school. The leadership, particularly led by my good boss, Dr. Elseduchum, has now been trumpeting STEM. And it's not just about trumpeting. We've moved beyond that. And actually, if you will recall, and you get to know, you are aware we have operationalized STEM schools where students are doing robotics, artificial intelligence, 3D imaging, Internet of Things. Awaso, Accra High, Kwase, Abomosu, Kwasempe, Bosom Train Girls, and
America is doing STEAM. We are doing STEM.
Yes.
Science, technology,
arts,
what do you call engineering, arts, and math.
Yes. So yes, ours, of course, definitely you have to start from somewhere. But ours essentially is also STEM. If you recall, recently we had a cabinet approval for the passing of the Creative Arts Bill and also establishing the Creative Arts schools.
Right.
You know, there is one at Daba in Kumasi that is also a Creative Arts senior high school. So these are all things that are coming on board. But of course, I mean, when you talk about, of course, development and growth, it's not an event. It's a process. It comes from somewhere. But we have been able to. But of course, the context has to be situated well in reference to what Mr. Mahama said.
Okay.
That if you look at a government that has not only introduced free senior high school, the data available supports him that in terms of the outcome, it's been very progressive and very good compared to when he was in office. In terms of even introducing or realigning or repositioning Ghana's education to be able to face into what the 21st century, the fourth industrial revolution, what is going on, talking about STEAM or STEM, just opposing what we have done to what he did. There is no way, particularly.
But you don't have textbooks, or
which textbooks?
Do the children have textbooks?
Oh, it's gone a long time. Will I have the confidence in Gambia? I would have taken your call. It's gone a long time.
Do they have textbooks?
Oh, they have
the full complement of the textbooks.
They have the textbooks.
But the new curriculum you introduced said we're going to use a certain kind of tables. A learner-based kind of thing.
I need to refer before I can speak to it. I can't speak. I'm not encyclopedia.
Kwesi, you know.
That test they are good.
Kwesi, you know.
Hey,
Kwesi,
you know everything in your fault.
No, PRO for. Yeah, the
PRO. He's going to use a kind of.
Ramsey, step in for me. We have 5 minutes. We have to go.
Yes.
Quickly, the economy. Let's look at the economy now. Then and now, did John Mahama take care of Ghana better than Akufo-Addo is, or Akufo-Addo is doing better than?
Unfortunately, Johnny, this is something that
we
the
just
NDC,
need 2 minutes to do this for you.
This is something that the NDC. That's what I'm saying. That this is something the NDC should come and speak for itself. What I can say is that under the leadership of the very honourable Alan Kojo Tremantin,
who was part of us
in the history of this Fourth Republic, he formulated an automotive policy that today 5 of the leading global automotive companies are currently assembling vehicles in Ghana. We have currently assembled 4,700 vehicles, and Ghana has a capacity to assemble 125,000 to 140,000 vehicles a year, which is unprecedented in the history of our country. Under his leadership, he implemented the 1D, 1F, even though he was shortchanged in terms of budgetary allocation as compared to the abysmal NAPCO policy and the NEIP, the YEA, who got in excesses of 2 billion cedis to their agency. Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin just got little to 400 million Ghana cedis. But even with that, he was able to excel. he provided 170,000 direct and indirect jobs to the youthful people of Ghana. And he has currently established over 169 factories currently operational.
All of these are MPP's achievements, aren't they?
Before
Dr.
the
Baumia and Dr. Nanado claimed
before the MPP came into power, Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin was the committee chairperson for trade and industry.
Right.
He was the one that professed all these policy solutions and recommendations to the MPP.
If you serve under a government, the government will take credit for the things that you have
done. Well,
as a minister.
In terms of collective responsibility, yes, they can do. But when we talk about individual accountability, then of course he should account for what he has done. And this is what we are doing.
You have 5 minutes to finish all this.
And this is what we are doing. And so Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin has delivered. And he is promising to do better.
So what you are saying is that both NDC and MPP have not taken care of Ghanaians well in terms of the economy?
I don't think so. The only leader that I can see that tried that, who was president, was Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Since 1957, if I'm giving you the economic analysis of Malaysia and Ghana, where in 1957 our GDP per capita was higher than that of Malaysia, and today Malaysia is far better than us, then it means that something has gone wrong.
Okay.
And it lies with the leadership of this country.
I hear you. Kwesi, economy. Have you taken care of Ghanaians better than John Mahama did?
I mean, because the Juji did not come and literally he's trumpeting Mr. Elijah. I mean, I didn't want to say that, but before I come there, I just believe that I feel a bit sympathetic towards Mr. Alan Chamartin.
Why do you feel sympathetic towards him?
I mean, maybe it's a mixed feeling, kind of sympathy and also kind of sad towards his situation. It's a very difficult situation because, I mean, your communicators will have to, on one side, condemn the MPP for all the bad things, and on one side, claim the glory for yourself and personalize it. It's a very tight situation when you find it. I just wish that, I mean, as a person, of course, he knows better than myself, but he would have just exercised a little bit of patience and have waited for the stars to align. I mean, it happened to Joe Biden, if you recall. Biden was tipped after President Bush left. And I mean, those times, America had a very huge global economic recession. Companies were declaring bankruptcy. And then a young man comes up and says he's called Mr. Obama. Campaign against a backdrop of hope and tell the good people of America that, yes, we can. And indeed, Americans bought into that, the audacity of hope. A young man, I mean, with Hussein as a middle name. I mean, largely coming to rule a state that is a bit more secular and Christian aligned. I mean, at that time, experience didn't matter, if you recall. Biden was just jettisoned, he had to step aside, even to the extent of sacrificing his own presidential ambition and coming to deputize or vice.
So Alan should have taken his time.
No, I am London.
Because we don't have too much time. My time is finished.
At the end of the day, Mr. Obama came into power, served 8 years with Biden. Trump came in. People even felt that Biden's presidency has just, it was just over. COVID came. Trump just made a mess of himself. And at that time, people of America did not require hope again, but they require. Can I land? They require experience, and then they had to also.
So what are you saying?
They had to also fall back on Biden. I am saying that Mr. Chamartin had made things very difficult for his communicators and himself, because it was just a matter of waiting patiently and waiting for the stars to align.
That's not my question to you. My question to you is,
no, because
how have you managed the economy? Have you managed the economy better compared to what John Mahama did, or you can explain?
No,
you can't.
Oh, allow me.
No, I think that to be able to have a fair assessment and measurement of
CD
the
to dollar, fuel prices,
but
cost of living,
it's also fair
rent.
It's also fair that you measure it comprehensively, taking into where we took it from and how it was doing before COVID struck, Russia-Ukraine invasion, the ramifications of it, and we find ourselves. I mean, currently, the current economic hardship was something that even the president had prophesied earlier when he admitted that we know how to bring back the economy, but not how to bring my life. It was an admonition that there could be difficulties. I admit that in terms of the outlook, in terms of the dollar to CD ratio, today if you are buying a car, you may need to double up the money that you used to buy before.
You have to, not me.
Come again?
You have to, not me.
Yeah, I agree that, I mean, times are a bit hard, but that's more on a global perspective. That with time, if you look at currently how the trends are going, things will be very stabilized. But within a very holistic understanding, taking it into a more comprehensive and broader scope from where we took it from and how it has been doing. We have managed it better than the NDC.
Are you sure?
Oh, very
okay. Kwesi Kwarteng, thank you very much indeed. He's a PRO of the Ministry of Education. Dr. Ramsey Nusa, also Movement for Change. Gentlemen,
you don't want me to answer to
no, wait, our time is finished. There's a beautiful lady waiting, please. Let's not keep her lady waiting. Let's not keep her waiting. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm grateful for